Hello students, welcome to the UWE Bristol Harvard referencing video. Today we're going to look at this referencing system that is used by most programs at Villa College. I'm Yasir and I work at Villa College in the Learning Support section. Okay. By the end of this lesson or this session, you'll understand why we reference and how to avoid plagiarism, understand what the UWE Bristol Harvard referencing system is, and know of the tools available to help you to reference properly. First of all, why should we reference at all? As you know, academic knowledge is built by working from other people's knowledge. It's very rare that one of us is a genius who is able to totally start off a new field of knowledge. So we have to look at what other people have said about a particular topic or topic area, and then look at other people who said different things about it as well, and then think about what that means and what that knowledge entirely means. So we are using other people's knowledge in order to develop our own knowledge. Therefore, we need to acknowledge when we use other people's ideas or whenever we use other people's ideas. The other thing is that when we submit an essay or a PowerPoint presentation and so on, we need the lecturer or whoever is looking at it to be able to follow the citations that you have made. The citations are the information that you give in the body of your work. So when you give the proper citations and also the proper referencing at the end of the work, then the lecturer or other person is able to follow your citation and look at it if they want to, and clarify any doubts they have, or clarify and find out more about that topic from that other literature. So when we reference and when we give citations, we need to acknowledge other people's ideas, words, images, illustrations. Any sort of information that is taken from other people should be acknowledged, whether it is adapted or not, or whether it's in the original form. We have to give a citation. Not doing this is academic dishonesty, and it can be considered to be plagiarism, and it's an academic offense or assessment offense at UWE as well as at Villa College. So a very simple way of looking at plagiarism. Plagiarism is basically passing off someone else's work, whether unintentionally or unintentionally, as your own. The important thing here is that even if it's unintentional, the reader, the lecturer, doesn't know whether it is intentional or not. So whenever you feel that you're using other people's knowledge, other people's phrases, other people's images and so on, you need to give a citation to it so that the lecturer or other person who's looking at your work can follow that and see that it is taken from this particular source, and that you have used it either in an adapted form, or whether you have taken it as original and shown that it is an original quotation or image and so on. Okay. So how can we avoid plagiarism? Let me just play a video and we'll look at it and work from there.
Plagiarism is something we hear about often, but do we really know what it means? You might hear the word used by your professor as part of a warning and something you should avoid. But how do you do this? Let's take a look. First, what is plagiarism? Plagiarism occurs when a writer uses someone else's language, ideas, or other original material without acknowledging its source. Whether you intend to or not, you are stealing someone else's ideas. Here's an example. You're writing a...
Okay, I hope you were able to view the video or listen to the audio just now, and also do the referencing, the plagiarism quiz. Actually, we'll do some other quizzes later on. and I hope you found that most of the answers were correct for you. So let's now look at what referencing helps you to do. One of the most important things when you do referencing properly is that it helps you to keep accurate records of your sources. So when you know the referencing system properly, you know the kinds of information you need in order to give the citation, but also to give the proper reference in the reference list. So for example, to give a reference for an article, you'll need the author's last name, surname or other names, the initials, the year of publication, the title of the article, the title of the journal it appeared in, the volume number, the issue number, and also you'll need to give the date on which you looked at that particular article. Now, very often we look at articles online, so we will be looking at PDFs, whether we look at it from after looking it up in an online library, or whether it's some article that a friend has given to you or a lecturer has provided for you. So you need to keep those sorts of records in order to give a proper reference list, but also to give a citation. So good referencing allows you to keep hold of all of the materials that are needed for referencing properly, and also all the materials that need to be referenced for your particular assignment or assessment. You also need referencing to show the lecturer that you have made a good effort to read the materials he or she has recommended that you read for a particular assignment, but also for the topic area, and also to show that you have made more of an effort than the bare minimum, so that the lecturer knows, okay, you made the effort, you tried to read more widely around this particular topic area, and that you've made a good effort at it. In order to do reference properly and to give a citation properly, you will be using paraphrase or summary or quotations. Now, out of these, quotations should be used very wisely and sparingly, because when you use a quote or a quotation, you're basically giving the exact phrase or the exact sentence that the author has used. And when you do that, what you're saying is, okay, I've seen this information in the article I've read, have a look at it to the lecturer. And when you do that, you're not really saying what you have learned from that quotation or from that particular piece of information. So more important to use is either paraphrase or summary. Now, paraphrase, as the word says, is saying the phrase in a different way. Yeah. So when you paraphrase, you're basically trying to say exactly what has been said in the original material, in the original article or source, but as far as possible, you're following almost exactly the same words or the same phrases, but in your own words. So you basically just change it slightly. Now, for one thing, that is very often very difficult to do, and the other thing is you're still not really showing that you have really understood that information. To show that you really understood that information, what you do is you summarize. Summary is very interesting because with a summary, you're showing very immediately to the lecturer that you've understood what you have read, and you're just using your own words in order to show your understanding. Any of these types, except for the quotations, right? Paraphrase or summary can also be used to bring together different sources into the same sentence, for instance. So, for example, instead of saying White 2015 said this and Black 2017 said that, you could say Black 2015 and White 2017 agree on this and this and such information. So using summary or using paraphrase, you can bring together different people's opinions in the same sentence, or you can compare the different information that these different sources have given. So for example, you might even say, whereas White 2015 stated such and such a thing, Black 2017 has disagreed with this and said such and such a thing. So using paraphrase and summary helps you to make your argument more complex and more interesting. Okay, let's now look at the UWE Bristol Harvard referencing system. This is different from the Harvard referencing system you may have heard of, and it is definitely different from the APA style of referencing, which some of you may already be familiar with. So U Bristol Harvard system is a little bit different from the Harvard system, and you need to know and keep in mind that the UWE Bristol, the UWE website, uwe.ac.uk, has the reference guide, the crucial reference guide for you to use whenever you're doing your assignment, and you should refer to it continuously as you do your assignment so that you become familiar with it, and so that you can make sure that your referencing is correct. If you don't use the correct referencing exactly, you may lose marks, and you may lose quite a lot of marks depending on whichever assignment you're doing or your dissertation. Okay. So the basic thing about using a referencing system is that you give a citation in the body of your work, and then you give a proper reference, a full reference to that particular item in the reference list. With UWE Bristol Harvard referencing, you have to use a reference list rather than a bibliography, and the reference list should have all of the sources that you have cited in your work, in your essay or in your PowerPoint, and also your work, your essay or your PowerPoint and so on, should have all of the items that are in the reference list. So if you have 10 different sources cited in your work, you should have 10 items in the reference list. Those 10 items, nothing more, nothing less. The other thing is that it's worth mentioning that the reference list should be complete and in alphabetical order, and you should try to make it as neat as possible so that the person reading your work is able to follow it easily and carefully. So what does it look like? Basically, it looks like this. If you're using a source with 2 authors, you have to use this format, Pike and Harrison 2011, and it can be an author prominent citation, as in the first example that you can see here. So Pike and Harrison, though the author's name or names goes into the sentence, that is called an author prominent citation. And in the second example, that is an information prominent citation, where you're basically looking at the information and the author's name or names are given in brackets, because in the first example, maybe you want to make sure that the lecturer knows that you have read this particular article, which he or she may have recommended quite a bit or mentioned quite a bit. In the second example, maybe the lecturer hasn't mentioned these authors very much, but you have read it and therefore you're using it in your essay because it's relevant, and you feel that the information is more important than the authors, and therefore you may use this sort of citation where the author's name or names are given in brackets so that they are not so prominent. Something that I've highlighted here is investigated. Investigated is an academic reporting verb, and academic reporting verbs can be used very effectively to make sure that your writing is more vivid and more interesting. So for example, instead of just saying Pike and Harrison stated or Pike and Harrison according to Pike and Harrison, you can use different academic reporting verbs to make your writing more interesting and more striking. Another example, whenever you use quotations, you have to be very careful that within the quotations are only the words that are originally from the source. So anything within the quotation should be from the source without any changes. And whenever you use a quotation, you also have to make sure that you use 3 bits of information. In the previous slide, there were 2 bits of information in the citation, which is the author name or authors' names and the year of publication. When you use a quotation, you have to use 3 bits of information, which is the author's name or names and the year of publication, and also the page number where you got the quotation. So this has an implication for when you make notes, and I recommend that you make notes whenever you're doing an essay or any piece of assessment or tutorial work, so that within the notes you note down. First of all, just looking at notes, making notes, first of all, you should have at the top of a piece of paper the bibliographic information that you will need for the reference list. So the author's name, the initials, the year of publication, the title of the article or the title of the book, the title of the journal, the title of the volume number, the issue number, the date on which you looked at it or you got it immediate first time. So that is called the access date. All of that information has to be in the notes, but then in your note making, you would be looking at the question, you would be looking at the plan that you have developed for this particular piece of writing, and see which piece of information from each article is useful for that particular question, for that particular assessment, and you would be taking notes. I recommend that you should take notes not in quotations, because that kind of leads you to using a lot of quotations in your work, which is not very valuable, because just a quotation doesn't add value to what you are showing the lecturer about what you know. So instead of that, when you take notes, you should use your own interpretation of the information that is given by the authors. But it's also important to note down the page number, even if it is not a quotation. But whenever you do note down a quotation, you should make sure that you have the exact phrasing within quotation marks and that you note down the page number for sure. Okay, so going back a little bit, if you're giving a citation, if it is a quotation, you need 3 bits of information. If you're using paraphrase or summary, you need 2 bits of information in the citation. Again, here also I've used an academic reporting verb, reported, as reported by Pike and Harrison. So that tells the lecturer that you have seen this article, you have understood it, and you know that it's a report rather than an investigation or something else. Also note that when you give the quotation, when you give those 3 bits of information, the page number is given with a simple P dot and 58 without the page number without spaces in between. But then you have to use a space after each of the commas that are given when you give the citation. Again, here also we are looking at the same quotation, but here it's an author prominent citation, so the author's name or names are given within the sentence as part of the sentence. So then you give the year of publication and the page number within brackets. Yeah, so there is an author prominent quotation. Looking at citations that have more authors, up to 3 authors have to be mentioned. All of the authors have to be mentioned if it is a citation with up to 3 authors. So Christie, Barron, and D'Annunzio Green are all authors, 3 authors, all of them have to be mentioned. But if you look lower down this slide, you'll see that Korn et al. 2013 is just one name, but et al. Actually defines that there are other authors. So it is basically Korn and others, right? This is done when you have 4 or more authors in the citation, in that, or 4 or more people who are attributed to a particular source, a document, an article, and so on. So in the citation, you use the first name given in the list of authors, but in the reference list, you have to give the last name and the initials for each of the authors that are actually relevant to this particular document. Okay. So let's move on a little bit more. Okay, so just to repeat what we said just now, if you have up to 3 authors for a citation, you should list all 3 authors in the citation, and then you give the year of publication if it is a paraphrase or summary. And then if there are 4 or more authors, you have to give 3 bits of information, which is, for a quotation, when you give a direct quotation, you have 3 bits of information, the author's name, the year of publication, the page number. And then if there are 4 or more authors, you have to say et al. In italics and as 2 separate words followed by a full stop, right? So Kwan et al. Full stop, and then the year of publication, and then the rest of the citation should be given. Okay, now let's look at the reference list. If you look at this reference list, you can see that there are 3 entries. They are in alphabetical order, and 2 of these are journals, and 1 of them is a book, right? Which one is the book? Okay, it's the last one. As a book, the entry has the author's name, initial, year of publication, the title of the book, the place of publication, and the publisher. So if you look in a little bit of detail here, the title of the book or the title of anything that you give as a reference has to be in italics and in initial caps. As you can see with Highland K 2006, English for Academic Purposes and Advanced Resource, the title itself is given in what is called initial caps, basically meaning that all of the words in the title, except for grammatical words of 3 letters or less, like for, should be capitalized. But if you see after the colon, after purposes, and advanced resource, and is capitalized. And the reason there is it's considered after the main title, English for Academic Purposes, and an advanced resource is also seen as almost a sentence. So at the beginning of a sentence, you basically need to have a capital. So "an" is also capitalized for that reason. And you can see that it's italicized, and the whole title is initial capitalized except for the word "for." Okay, now if you look at the next 2, the first 2 entries, they are both from journals. The first one is from the Research in International Education journal. So the title of the journal is in italics and in initial caps, just like with the book. So R is capital, I is capital, E is capital. In is not capitalized because it's a grammatical word of less than 3 letters. Okay, so it's italicized, initial capitalized. The second journal also is initial capitalized and also in italics. Studies in Higher Education, in is again not capitalized. Now you see that for both of those entries there is an online notification in what is called square brackets, and here also square brackets online, and also because the writer here has seen it online, has seen both of these online, the online notification is there, plus you have to say accessed. You have to say the access date in square brackets again. So you say accessed, 09 June 2014, for example, or 01 June 2014. Even if it is the first 9 days of a month, you have to use 0 in front to make it a double digit number. 09, 08, 07, like that. And then the complete month in June, not JUN, nor not DEC for December, but the full version. And then the year that you actually saw this publication or article. You'll notice that there are lots of full stops and commas and so on, and they all have to be in the right place and used at the right moment. So looking first at the names. So you give the last name of each author and then the initials, right? And when you give the initials also, after the comma you give a space and then each initial followed by a dot and then a space before the year of publication. Even when you need to give many authors like here, you need to do the same thing, last name, initial, dot, and then a comma to separate this name from the next name. So then you have Baron, comma, P dot, and a comma again to separate this person from the next one. Then the next thing is the title of an article, and a lot of the time you will be looking at articles in journals. The title of an article should be given in sentence caps. Okay, let's look at 2 more articles in a reference list. Again, you can see the first one is a three author article, Pakiti, Woodrow, and Hirsch. All of them need to be given so the last name, initial, dot, and a comma to separate each author from the next one. And you'll see that there is an and used before the last name that is given. There's no comma before the and then once you finish with the authors' names, you give the year of publication in normal brackets, and then give a space, and then you give the title of the article. Even if it is very long, you have to give the whole title of the article. Here it says it's not only English, effects of other individual factors in English language learning and academic learning of ESL international students in Australia. Quite a long name, but all of it has to be given. And as you notice, it's in basic letters, not bold, not italicized or anything, but it is in sentence case. So only I in its is capitalized, except for proper nouns like English there, and ESL, which is an acronym for English as English for speakers of other languages, but it's used in capital letters. So those 2 words, English and ESL, are capitalized, and then of course Australia. Everything else is in simple letters, and then full stop, and then you give the name of the journal, Research in International Education, initial capitalized and also in italics, and then before the full stop, after the journal title, you have to give the online notification. So in square brackets you have online, in square brackets, and then a full stop, and then the volume number and the issue number. Now sometimes some of the articles you look at may not have a volume number for the journal or an issue number. In that case, you miss out those missing details. So for example, if the issue number was not given here, then it would be just 12, pp, and so on. Now, so you have here 12 is the volume number, 3 is the issue number, a space between those different items, a comma, and then pp. pp means the page range. So from 239 to 258 pages in the journal. And then a full stop, and then access date should be given again in square brackets, after which there's a full stop. Now in most entries in UWE Bristol Harvard referencing, there has to be a full stop right at the end. Okay. Now let's take a moment. You can pause the video and use the QR code here, or you can type out the URL that's given here, or you can look at the bottom of this video to look at the description and find the reference quiz. The reference quiz will check whether you know enough about the referencing that we have just discussed. Also think about the video that you saw or heard so that you get the answers. Once you finish this, you'll get marked online automatically, and then you know what sort of mistake you may have made. Hopefully nobody makes any mistakes there. And then let's move on to the next one. Okay, here we are looking at the Microsoft Word plugin. If you click the code here or go to the URL, and again the URL will be given below the video in the description. You can just click through there and download the files. The text file in the folder that you see from this link will tell you how to install the plugin, and also there'll be videos. You can see links to videos where you can learn how to install the plugin further, and also to how to use the plugin. These are some of the referencing tools that are available. The first tool, although it's not really a tool, is the UWE Bristol Harvard web page. This is a very crucial web page because lecturers will be looking at the page as they're doing any marking for your assignments, and therefore you as students need to be very familiar with this web page so that you can make sure that you're on the right track. The page is very detailed, and you can see different sections, different kinds of sources that you can use in your reference list. So make sure that you get it right. If you have any issues, you can ask me or ask the learning support team through Viber, or you can email to English at villacollege.edu.mv, or learning support at villacollege.edu.mv. Okay. Then you have the online reference builder, which is a feature of the web page, UWE web page, and you can use that to develop your reference list items for journal articles or for book articles or books, right? And this tool is fairly useful, but you have to copy different items separately, or you can copy it into some reference managers. Okay, now let's look at some of the resources that are available for your studies through learning support at Villa College. First, we have the Fiber community. I hope many of you are already in the community. Right now we have more than 1,500 members in the group. So these are present students, current students, and also maybe students from the past. This group is useful because we are able to give you a lot of information on academic writing, grammar, use of English, and other interesting bits of information that you may find enhances your studies at Villa College. You can use the QR code given here to join, or you can use the link that is shown as well. All of these links will be given in the description below the video, so you can have a look at it and click through from there as well. These are some of the posts that have been made recently, and as you can see, a lot of the links that I used are trackable through bit.ly or other sources, so that we can see how much engagement there is, how much use students find from the resources. Lots of clicks on some of the articles or the posts, and some students actually share them as well, which is good. I try to make sure that all of the videos that are made, or all of the classes, academic writing classes and so on, that are done are posted here. Then we have etudes. These days etudes are online. Initially etudes were designed for face-to-face meetings with individual students or in pairs of students or small groups of students to talk about their concerns with academic writing or referencing, language improvement in general, how to revise, and so on. But now etudes are done online, and you can book an etude at any time. Basically just make an appointment through this link shown here, or using the QR code that is shown here. You may also use the Viber group to contact me to make an appointment if the times that are given for the appointments are difficult. Okay. Then we have academic writing workshops. These workshops will be ongoing throughout the semester, at least once a week, and those who sign up will be notified of the dates and the times so that you can participate. The videos will be posted and on the Viber group so that you can follow them even afterwards. Okay, let's get some feedback from what you have learned from this whole series of videos, or if you saw this as one video, you can give us some feedback. So please click the QR code or go to the link. The link will also be given in the description below the video. If you want to download this presentation itself, you can click the QR code here or use the link that is given here. And again, the link will be given in the description below the video.